Have you ever smiled at someone, offered to help them, or listened to their problems for hours, while secretly feeling like you were disappearing behind your own benevolence? It is a strange, lonely feeling. It is the feeling that people love you for what you do for them, for the errands you run, the emotional support you provide, the peace you keep. But they do not actually know, or perhaps do not even care, about who you really are deep inside. Kindness is beautiful. It is the glue that holds society together. But there is a tipping point. Too much kindness, or rather, kindness without boundaries, can quietly break your heart. Whether it is answering work emails late at night because you want to be seen as reliable, picking up extra shifts because you cannot bear to say no, or always being the designated listener while your own world is falling apart. Many kind-hearted souls give until they are completely hollow. This is especially true for those of you who identify as empaths, people pleasers, or highly sensitive people. You might believe that being a good person means being endlessly available. You might think that saying no makes you selfish. But I am here to tell you that kindness without boundaries is not just exhausting. It can become dangerous to your mental and physical health. As the great writer Ernest Hemingway once wrote, the most painful thing is losing yourself in the process of loving someone too much and forgetting that you are special too. If you constantly feel drained after being nice, if you feel a heavy weight in your chest after agreeing to yet another favor, your kindness might actually be hurting you. Let us look at why this happens. It is not just a personality quirk. It is rooted in your biology. We call this the neurochemical trap. When you help someone, your brain releases dopamine. This is the feel-good chemical, the reward neurotransmitter. Psychologists often refer to this as the helper's high. When you are kind to someone, you feel a rush of connection. Helping makes you feel useful. It makes you feel needed. It makes you feel important in a world that can often make us feel small. But here is the trap. The brain, much like it does with sugar or caffeine, learns to crave that feeling. It does not always know when to stop. If you grew up in an environment where you were praised for being the good one, or if you were taught that love had to be earned through service, your brain wired itself to chase that approval at all costs. You were trained to believe that your value lies in your utility. So, you end up pouring from an empty cup, chasing a hit of validation that never lasts. Think about the last time you said yes, when every cell in your body wanted to scream no. In the immediate moment after you agreed, did you feel energized? Or did you feel a quiet, heavy resentment settling in your stomach? If you are a naturally kind and giving person, it is highly likely that other people cultivated that trait in you. Parents, teachers, and society often reward the quiet, compliant, helpful child. But even though their intentions might have been good, this conditioning makes it dangerously easy to fall into the trap of chronic self-sacrifice. For empaths and people pleasers, this becomes an identity. You start thinking that your kindness equals your worth. You believe that if you just love harder, stay softer, give more, and forgive faster, things will work out. You convince yourself that if you are always the helper, always the fixer, always the peacemaker, then you will always be safe and loved. But here is what no one tells you. Kindness without boundaries does not fill you up. It empties you. It scrapes the bottom of your energetic barrel. And because you have wired your brain to believe your worth depends entirely on how kind you are to others, setting even a tiny boundary feels far more difficult than it should. It feels like a betrayal of your own character. I want you to ask yourself a very hard question right now. Is this real kindness, or is it survival mode disguised as kindness? There is a difference between creating a life that is full and a life that is fulfilling. Busyness is not the same as belonging. When you spend your days overcommitting, rescuing others from their own messes, over-explaining your decisions, and apologizing for taking up space, your life can look very full on the outside. You have friends, you have plans, you have responsibilities. But inside, it feels hollow. It feels like a stage set, pretty to look at, but if you lean on the walls, they fall down. This behavior often links back to something called fawning. You might have heard of fight, flight, or freeze. Fawning is the fourth trauma response. It is where you move immediately into people-pleasing to stay safe or to feel worthy. If you grew up in a home where love felt conditional, where you were loved when you were good, but ignored or criticized when you had needs, fawning likely became your survival strategy. Your brain learned that the safest place to be was in service to others. Now, as an adult, your brain confuses self-sacrifice with safety. It thinks, if I stop giving, I will be abandoned. Remember the neurochemical trap. All of these things train you to become a master at meeting the needs of everyone else in the room while quietly, consistently ignoring your own. So, I ask you again, is this true kindness, or is it a shield? You are not unkind for saying no. You are not unkind for needing space. You are not unkind for turning off your phone. You are simply learning to relate to others without abandoning yourself in the process. Let us talk about the dark shadow of this behavior, resentment. Here is the hard truth that we nice people hate to admit. Resentment does not always come out as a fiery outburst. It does not always look like yelling or slamming doors. Sometimes, resentment simmers quietly underneath your smile. It lives in the clenched jaw while you listen to a friend complain about the same problem for the 10th time. It lives in the heavy sigh you release when you get in your car alone. When you are too kind for too long, swallowing your hurt, shelving your needs, pushing down your desires, a slow bitterness begins to creep in. It is inevitable. You cannot give away pieces of yourself forever without eventually feeling the loss. And because you are the nice one, you might feel incredibly guilty for even acknowledging this anger. You think, I should be happy to help. Why am I so annoyed? Guilt often shows up when we care deeply about others. It is a sign of your empathy. But if that guilt keeps you from honoring your basic needs, it is time to reevaluate what it is trying to protect. Resentment is not a sign that you are a bad person. It is a warning light on your dashboard. It is your mind's way of screaming, hey, your needs have gone unmet for too long. We are running on fumes here. Your kindness meter is already in the danger zone. Suppressed resentment does not just strain your relationships, creating an invisible wall between you and the people you love. It eats away at your self-esteem. It whispers to you that your feelings do not matter, that you are secondary in your own life. But remember, you have just as much right to feel, to ask, and to protect your heart as anyone else. So, what have you been swallowing down just to keep the peace? What words have you bitten back? What tears have you hidden? If you are listening to this, you are probably exhausted. You have given until there is nothing left, and somehow you still feel guilty for wanting to stop. But remember, guilt is not always a stop sign. Sometimes it is just growing pains. So, how do we heal? How do we find that elusive balance between being a loving person and being a healthy person? We cannot change overnight. We are unwiring a lifetime of conditioning. But there are simple, effective, and expert-backed strategies you can try starting today. Strategy number 1. Always know the why behind your yes. The next time someone asks you for a favor, whether it is baking for the school sale, helping a friend move, or taking on a project, pause. Do not answer immediately. Take 3 deep breaths. In that pause, ask yourself, am I being kind because it reflects who I want to be, or because I am scared to upset them? Am I saying yes out of love or out of fear? There is a therapeutic approach called acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT. It teaches us that when decisions are based only on reactive emotions like fear, guilt, or shame, they usually backfire. They lead to burnout. However, when actions are based on your core values, they feel sustaining. Living by values, not fear, creates kindness with integrity. So, choose to help others when it aligns with your values of generosity and community, not when it is driven by your anxiety about being disliked. If you cannot tell the difference in the moment, wait. Say, let me check my schedule. Give yourself the gift of time. The truth will eventually emerge. Strategy number 2. Tune into your body's no signals. Your body is wise. It often knows the truth long before your conscious mind catches up. Before you agree to something, scan your body for tension. Do you feel a tightness in your chest? Is there a knot in your stomach? Has your breathing become shallow? Is your jaw clenched? Somatic psychology tells us that these are not random physical quirks. They are data. They are warnings. Your body is engaging a subtle stress response because it knows you are about to overstep your own boundary. Trust this discomfort as valuable information. Do not override your body's distress signals just to be nice. If your stomach drops when you see a certain name on your phone, that is a boundary trying to make itself known. Listen to it. Strategy number 3, build assertiveness, not aggression. Many kind people confuse assertiveness with aggression. They think if they are direct, they are being mean. But kindness without assertiveness breeds that quiet resentment we talked about. A study from the year 2012 found that when you sacrifice for others, but hide how you really feel, you end up feeling significantly worse. It leads to increased negativity, increased stress, and lower self-esteem. Ironically, your relationships also suffer. You grow distant from the very people you tried to please because you are not being authentic with them. Assertiveness training helps reverse that. It makes you feel less anxious, boosts your confidence, and improves your communication skills. Being assertive does not mean lashing out. It simply means expressing your needs clearly and calmly. Try using I statements. Instead of saying, "You always ask too much of me," try saying, "I am feeling overwhelmed right now, so I cannot help with this." Instead of a vague excuse, try setting a limit. "I can help for 30 minutes, but then I have to go." You do not need to become less kind. You need to become as kind to yourself as you are to everyone else. Strategy number 4. Start with small boundaries. You do not have to overhaul your entire life overnight. That is not realistic, and it is too scary. Experts suggest starting with small, manageable boundaries. These are your training wheels. Take a few hours to reply to a non-urgent text instead of answering right away. Prove to your brain that the world will not end if you are not instantly available. Say no to one unimportant request this week. Decline a last-minute favor that inconveniences you. Each time you set a small boundary and survive it, you are rewiring your brain. You are teaching your nervous system that it is safe to have limits. Remember, healing begins when you stop asking, "Am I good enough for others?" and start asking, "Am I being good to myself?" Strategy number 5. Practice self-validation. Kind words to yourself can heal the deep need for outside approval. Therapists call this self-validation. When you feel the urge to prove your worth through kindness, pause. Place a hand over your heart. Remind yourself, "I am enough, even when I say no. I can survive the guilt. My needs matter too." This feels strange at first. It might even feel fake, but keep doing it. You are building a new internal voice, a nurturer who cares for you just as much as you care for others. And finally, strategy number 6. Replace guilt with self-trust. Think of it like this. When you say no to protect your energy, you are not being cruel. You are preserving your kindness so that you can keep giving it where it truly matters. You are ensuring that when you do say yes, it is a wholehearted, joyful yes, not a resentful obligation. You are protecting the asset. You are the asset. If you burn out, you cannot help anyone. By setting boundaries, you are actually being more responsible, not less. Rewiring old patterns takes time. You have likely spent 20, 30, or 40 years operating this way. It will not vanish in a week. So be patient and gentle with yourself. Surround yourself with friends who respect your boundaries, not just your kindness. The people who get angry when you set boundaries are usually the ones who benefited the most from you having none. Pay attention to that. Please remember, my dear friend, you were never meant to pour endlessly until you are empty. You are not a resource for others to consume. You are a person. You are not here to earn love by abandoning yourself. You are allowed to be kind and firm. You are allowed to be generous and protected. You are allowed to receive as much as you give. And most importantly, you are worthy, even when you are resting. You are worthy, even when you are not useful. You are worthy, even when you are not giving anything at all. If you are still feeling burnt out from being too kind, know that you are in good company. This is a journey many of us are on. We are also thinking of putting together a self-assessment quiz to help you find out what specific traits or habits you might have developed as part of your coping mechanisms. Knowledge is power. If you feel such a quiz could be helpful to you, let us know in the comments below with a yay or a nay for the quiz. We want to create resources that actually serve you. We also made a past quiz to help you determine if you are a people pleaser. It is a gentle way to check in with yourself. We will put the link to that in the description for you to explore in your own time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your kindness, the real kind, the kind that includes you. We love you, we see you, and we will see you soon. Take care of your beautiful aura.